welcome to another Daily Digest video. I'm Merriam, and today I am playing one of the more interesting decks I've seen in a while. It is a Thopter Foundry Sword of the Meek deck that is also sort of like a KCI in a way, but instead of KCI sacrificing and drawing a bunch of cards, we've got Grinding Station sacrificing them, which then untaps and mills them for a bunch, and Sly Requisition are sort of a part of that, giving you more things to sacrifice to it, even though it doesn't continue the loop, because Grinding Station only untaps when you sacrifice non-tokens, but you should have enough to get a bunch of untaps, and then, I don't know, just mill them out in a turn, or you kill them with Thopter Foundry, and Sword of the Meek, if that's good against them. So we got a couple different ways to win, and then a bunch of sweet artifacts to power them out. Unfortunately, this hand cannot make a single mana, so we're going to send this one back. This one's a little bit better. It's not great, but it's better. And I think that means I'm going to keep it. I don't have enough mana to cast the Trawler yet, but I just need to find an artifact for that, and I can cast the Requisitioner. I'm kind of set up to go long. Whir of Invention. So I can't cast that one because the Opal doesn't make blue yet. My hand already has some expensive cards in it, so I'm going to send that one to the bottom. See what my opponent does on their 6. They leave those on top. How lucky. Okay, let's start off with a Delta and go from there. Oh, I've got 2 Water Graves, 2 Islands. Okay. Okay. Want to play the Delta because it best disguises what deck I'm playing. Okay, a red-white control deck, a red-white prison, however you want to define it. They scry to the bottom off that temple, so I can be wary of Chalice on 1, but there's not a whole lot I can do about that. Man, I'm going to be short of casting this Requisitioner next turn. It's like I can tap out for Scrap Trawler next turn and then play Ornithopter Opal, and that essentially gives me 3. I'm too short. I only have 3 mana towards Requisitioner, but there's still no point in me continuing on. I bet they will assume I'm some weird KCI deck, because I can't be Affinity having not played anything in the first 2 turns. Now I'll crack this fetch just to make sure I get a Watery Grave. At this point, Whir is a much better draw than Watery Grave anyway. Okay, Thopter Foundry. That's kind of interesting. Still think I'm just going to trawl here. Actually, Helixing my Ornithopter. Well, I rather like that. That was sort of the idea of sequencing in the way that I did. Yeah, I'm not going to activate the Thopter Foundry, so I'll just play Scrap Trawler here. If they kill the Trawler, I'll at least get back the Ornithopter. Next turn, I can cast both Thopter Foundry and Requisitioner, actually. Is this a Blood Moon? Well, that's gross. Okay. That was definitely a reason to play Thopter Foundry, because I can cast everything else through Blood Moon. Though, now that I've drawn Star, I'm able to cast the Thopter Foundry through Blood Moon anyway. So why don't I play Chromatic Star, and then cast this, pay 1, cast both of these. I can wait on the Foundry. Oh, I need to pay another one, sure. I can wait on the Foundry here because the Star's not going anywhere, I assume. And if I get to untap with the Requisitioner, then sacrificing the Star will just give me an extra 1/1, which could be relevant. Okay, no second white mana for Wrath of God here. Anger would be rough. Lightning Bolt. So they have an answer to rec. Ooh. Manic Lightning Bolt is not something you usually find in these decks because they usually have Chalice. This is indicative of them not having Chalice of the Void in their deck. Could still have it in the sideboard and want to bring it in. Let's float mana here. Hold on. Now we want to make blue. Pay the red. I was scared that if I tried to make that, like, activate the star with only the black in pool, then it would automatically use the black mana. But okay, well now we at least get the Ornithopter back, so we still got value from waiting. And cast this. And now, do I want to make multiple 1/1s? Oh, Path to Exile. Yeah, nothing I can do about that. I do get a basic land, though. Guess I'll get an island. My only option. So they've had the right removal, and we'll see what they have now. Do I want to play the other Ornithopter? I don't really think so. I think I'd rather wait for a Requisitioner. So I do kind of want to make at least 1/1/1 here. Start doing something. Another mountain here. They're down to 2 cards, and a Johnny here. Ugh. Cast out is rough. So they have the answer to the Foundry. Yeah, they've just had all the right removal to line up against my stuff. Now I'm definitely going to make 2 1/1s. I don't have an answer to that cast out, so there's no real point. I do want to keep the Opal around because of the Blood Moon. This is actually better to get the Foundry in the graveyard in case I find another Scrap Trawler. Delta is not a good draw. So go Gadget Thopters. We got 2 Thopters against 1 card in hand. Kind of a degenerate game here where my opponent just killed all my stuff, but doesn't have anything big to follow it up, apparently. Okay. Check this out. Bet you've never seen the natural Sword of the Meek. Does mean if I find another Thopter Foundry, I'll be in business. Unfortunately, I cannot cast a War of Invention. Unlike Convoke, Improvise doesn't allow you to pay colored mana if it matches, so these blue Thopters cannot tap for blue mana for Whir. But if I find another Opal or another basic island, the other basic island, then I can Whir. Oh, Jesus. Well, the good news here is if they -2, I still have 2 damage, no matter what they target. So yeah, so they're plussing, probably just trying to find a Plains so that they can cast a Wrath in their hand or something like that, or find an Anger. Really just find some way to keep this Ajani around. Ugh, another Darksteel Citadel. A lot of bricks at this point. Definitely attacking Ajani with them at 18. Yeah, they're going to have a lot of time here. If I played this other Ornithopter and made another token, I'd be in better shape. I'd have lethal if they plus to this turn. So that's another potential mistake here. I discard a Superfluous Blood Moon. And with them seeing 2 cards a turn for at least the next 3 turns, I think they're going to outpace us here. We need some good draws. Even just regular removal spells for them would be good enough. Ugh. Well, I have drawn 7 lands and gotten pathed into another, so not the best set for me. Ooh, no removal? Okay. I'll continue playing these useless lands. I'm getting closer to killing this Nahiri. I suspect this will be another land or Blood Moon. Ooh, a Day of Judgment. So they definitely have another Wrath in their hand. This has to be a superfluous copy. And they're just digging for another white source. Haven't been able to find it. Deck probably has maybe 8 planes in it, 7 planes, I would guess. They have Retreat, Sacred Foundry, Temple. I assume they have 4 copies of Arid Mesa. Probably only 1 or 2 Sacred Foundries, 2 or 3 Retreats, and 3 or 4 Temples. And then the 1 Mountain. Good draw. Ugh. Wow. This is getting a little out of hand. But with each attack, we draw nearer. Okay, they've only got 1 more turn now to protect this Nahiri. And can you imagine if I just made that other Thopter? They'd be down 2 cards relative to where they'll be at the end of this turn, and they won't have the Nahiri. They wouldn't have the Nahiri, and they'd be at 17. Yeah, they'd be yeah, just discarding more double white cards. So planes here would be bad news. No planes, no removal spells, please. What do you got? The tank here seems like them lamenting their bad luck, because we're both very low on options. It's not like you have to figure out what you're doing. If you draw a removal spell, you kill my 2/3 in combat, your Nahiri only takes 1. What else are you going to think about? So I'm taking this as a good sign. They could be sitting here trying to figure out what I'm doing, because my deck is very strange. I don't know. There are 9 lands in play. Can't imagine this deck plays many lands. 17. And I've got 1 more in the graveyard. So we only have 7 lands left in the deck. 3 drums and 3 opals left too. So only 13 kind of bricks. There's also 6 more 0 drops. Half my deck is still kind of a brick. I don't really know how good Grinding Station is either. But yeah, Grinding Station is pretty bad unless I can get rid of this Nahiri. No, the artifact has to be tapped, so. Okay. Maybe Grinding Station will be good. This is not a deck that kills very quickly, and I'm not really dead to an Emrakul. I've got a bunch of extra lands to sack, and I'm at over 50 in life. Well over. So Grinding Station would be good. Turn 40 cards. Casting another Nahiri. Because, yeah, the 1/3 is going to die. Okay, well. Yeah, Simian Spirit Guide, another blank. And I've got some more turns. I think if I had made the extra Thopter, I would have been able to deal with this Nahiri by this turn too. Because they would have played it a turn earlier, at least, because the other Nahiri dies earlier. So they might be on the same scene cards, but I would have dealt with both Nahiris. So Ornithopter in my hand sure isn't doing anything. Orb of Invention, as I mentioned earlier, is uncastable until I find another basic island or another opal or drum. So another brick. So many bricks in this game, we could build ourselves a house. And we'll start this whole rigmarole over again. Oh no, they drew a bolt. Please stop passing priority. Gonna have to re-equip this sword after combat. Don't want to use my mana inefficiently. So that must have been their draw off of that Nahiri activation. So I assume their 2 cards in hand are a Wrath and some other brick. Either a land they're hoping to discard, like that's not a Plains, or another double white card, or something stupid like another Blood Moon or another Simian Spirit Guide. But unfortunately now we're in a holding pattern because I only have 2 damage on the board and Nahiri +2. So I'm actually not making any progress towards answering this Nahiri, and they're seeing 2 cards a turn. So now we're really under the gun. Okay, Emrakul is another brick. That does count. Let's see what else they find. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised they don't just take a turn to exile the Thopter and reduce all pressure. But with me only having 2 power, actually, it makes more sense to just be +2ing. Because that blanks this attack anyway, and it gets you a rummage. Yeah. If I find another Thopter Foundry, then we're in business. That would be nice. This deck does not seem like it has a lot of answers to that combo. I can't imagine they have many copies of Cast Out. I would say max 2. And that's the number I'd be looking at building a deck like this. And neither combo piece ever has to tap, so Nahiri doesn't break it up. So I'm really just looking for another Thopter Foundry. Because I have War in hand, basic Island, Mox Opal, or Drum also count. Even if they kill the Thopter, the Drum can get activated by Ornithopter, so long as I sequence a Drum first to play around removal. My opponent is now in the tank. Again, I'm not sure what they'd be tanking about. I only have 3 cards. I think the gameplay from here is pretty simple. We could get to a complicated spot at some point, but right now... Ooh. That is actually good. Because I get the second island. I still have 3 artifacts, because Blood Moon doesn't stop Citadel from being an artifact. And another word, even better. I don't think there's any point in me showing this to them now, so I'm just going to pass the turn. They think they've got their Nahiri up to 9, ready to Emrakul me. But that path is a good one. Okay. Blue. Cast. Pay 1. Pay 2. Pay blue. I'm on end step, so there's no point in me not using the Sword of the Meek to tap. And done. This will let me make an extra Thopter token. So now I'll be up to 7. A strong number. Honestly, I'm not even worried about Emrakul, right? I'll just have so many Thopters, and I gain so much life. Emrakul attacks are just meaningless. Thopter Foundry. I just hope they don't have another Cast Out. Because they can respond to this Sword of the Meek trigger right now by casting out the Thopter Foundry. Which would not be the end of the world. I would sack Citadel and Foundry to make 2 more tokens to pressure the Nahiri, and then still have another Whir. But it looks like they do not have it, so now we play this whole game. This Ornithopter sitting in my hand for moral support, doing a really great job. Good towel waiver from the bench. I wonder if they're thinking about how they can get out of this. Thanks for the Path Exile. That was very helpful. Don't think they're going to be as aggressive with Path Exile in later games. Did I not auto yield to the sword trigger? Can I say always yes? It's not letting me say always yes. Must be a weird way with how it's programmed or worded. I don't know. But yeah, they have now F6, so they see what's going on. Maybe they're just not used to this combo, but it's a nice one. And one more. Boom. So we've got 7 tokens. That means 8 power, which is 1 short, unfortunately. Dealing with this Nahiri right now. But I'm not too concerned about that. Let's just get it down to 1. That way they can't do any shenanigans, tapping an artifact or something. I'm going to have more than enough fodder to do what I need to kill it next turn and kill them. Okay. Well, I said all we needed was 1 good draw, and that draw turned out to be our opponent's when they drew a 2nd Path to Exile and used it on one of our creatures. So that was nice of them. I don't think Welding Jar is very good because most of the things I'm trying to... I guess the biggest thing I'm trying to protect is Thopter Foundry and to a lesser extent Grinding Station. Jar does not stop their removal for those cards unless they have like, Wear Tear in the sideboard. It does protect Scrap Trawler and Sly Requisitioner. It's got to be better than Ornithopter, which just doesn't do anything. It's probably even better in the main deck than Ornithopter, right? No. I like Thoughtseize against a more controlling deck that has powerful cards. I don't think we need Claws of Gix as another synergy piece to get these sacrifice engines going because our life total is so irrelevant. And the other card I'm looking at here is the Antiquities War. I could bring in Wear Tear to answer Chalice and or Blood Moon and or Cast Out. I don't want to be too reactive, I don't think. Antiquities War would normally be quite good against them, but it is quite poor against Nahiri specifically. So I actually don't think I'm going to bring it in. And because of that, I'm going to try out some Wear Tears. I think I have some more space. I just don't want Ornithopter in my deck. Pretty sure that card is, as the kids say, booty. So we'll cut those. We'll get some disruption in our deck and go on with our life. Oh, I need to cut one more. Okay, then. What is the other card that I will cut? I kind of feel like I can cut a Sword of the Meek, seeing as they're pretty bad in multiples. So yeah, let's go with that. I'm almost surprised to see the 4th sword before the 4th whir, since whir can be a sword, but that's just me. Okay, what do we have going on here? A pretty good hand, if you ask me. Drum will help us play through a potential Blood Moon. We have a Thoughtseize, Chromatic Star to dig. It'll go well with Thopter Foundry. If they do not have a Blood Moon, this Moorland Haunt should be good against them, so yeah, I will keep. Interesting decision as to when I should time this Thoughtseize, because I'm wary of Chalice still, especially just coming out of the board. But normally I'd prefer to save it until the latest time I can. I also want to get an island with this Delta, which makes me less apt to cast Thoughtseize. I'm going to go for the island. There's a good chance that they just don't have a Chalice in their deck. And because of that, I'm going to lead on Drum. This way, if I draw Memnite next turn, I can get to 3 mana and Trawl if I want to. Because I don't much care about Blood Moon. I am more apt to wait on Thoughtseize because they topped on the Temple, too. That was another factor in the decision. Yeah. Awkward draw, but I'm going to run the Thoughtseize now because I also want to cantrip Define Lands. Mox Opal, not a bad one. And let's see what's going on. A lot of options on this one. Not sure what my opponent is going to use their Nevermore on. If I had to hazard a guess, it would be either Thopter Foundry or War of Invention to try to stop that combo. They have a Wear, Tear towards something, and 2 bolts. So they sort of have 4 answers to my 4 cards in hand. Like the bolts deal with the Requisitioners, the Nevermore stops the Foundry next turn, the Trawler gets Wear Teared, I get a star back, but they're okay with that. And then they have this Gideon left over. I could take the Nevermore and hope to do something against the Gideon, but I actually think it's hard for me to beat this Gideon. And because the Nevermore doesn't actually lock me out of anything, because I have War of Invention, I'm okay with leaving the Nevermore. I also have Wear Tear to deal with Nevermore, so I'm actually going to take the Gideon and try to play a longer game, given that their hand is all 1-for-1s. That is weird how Moto renders that. So I'll take the Gideon, see how that works out for us. Because given a ton of time the last game, we were able to finally assemble something. If I were them, I would probably name War of Invention. Because that's just the most generically good one. And you know the game's going to go long. Oh, they just named Thopter Foundry. Soul Read. Good on them. So now... Man. If they had named Thopter Foundry, I would have been able to just play Trawler plus Thopter. Or if they named Were, I'd be able to Trawl plus Thopter Foundry here. So as is, do I Requisition or do I Trawl? I think I Trawl because I prefer them to... Maybe they decide to bolt the Trawler and then one of my Requisitioners lives. So let's play the Trawler. We also get back a star from this, which could end up cracking with Requisitioner. We only have the 5 mana for it. So we'll see how they decide to play this. Also just value in getting creatures in my graveyard because of the Moorland Haunt, but I guess Requisitioner versus Trawler does that anyway. So they do decide to bolt, which is good for me. They have not hit another land drop, so they have 2 more spells in hand. Ooh, baby. Are we ready to go off? Oh, I don't want to... Oh, man. Them saving this is actually good. That's a tilt. So if the game's going to go long anyway, and I know they have an answer to Grinding Station, then I don't think I want to just play a Requisitioner here, which means I screwed up by... Should have tapped the Spire. I could have made a 1/1. I wasn't thinking. I thought I was casting something this turn, but I actually don't think I am. Oh, I guess I have to cast these Requisitioners at some point. And my 5 mana, I'm going to cast a Requisitioner. Let's make black. 1. We'll run this into a bolt. Hopefully next turn I can play Requisitioner plus Grinding Station. I need a land for that, and then at least get some tokens out of this. That's kind of my plan. Still no lands, so land please. Okay, that does count, so we can soar this turn. And then next turn we can Requisitioner plus Station. What are they thinking about? I don't think they're going to want to wear the Sword of the Meek. Wow. They must have another wear in their hand. That's the only conceivable reason for that. And they're going to get punished if I draw land. And oh, they have a relic. Oh no! Now my poor Moreland Haunt. Okay. Oof, how do I time this? Because I can war for 2 with 1 mana up. So how do I want to time this? I think I pass. And if they pop the relic, and I think they want to hit land drops, so they're somewhat likely to pop it, I can respond and get them. If they tap it, I just get to remove a delta, and that doesn't do a whole lot. Yes. Cast this. Blue, 1, 1, blue. No! Oh no! Cancel! No. No, I've ruined everything by misclicking. Can I undo that? Oh my god, I can undo it. Undo. Pay 1. Oh. Oh, happy day. X is currently 2. Done. Deliver me from my mistakes. Now I get to sacrifice the star. Get my card anyway. Get this 1/1. Yield. Yes, I would like to return it. Sure, now you can resolve your relic. And nice and nevermore. I am kind of expecting a wear here. But even after a wear, I'm very well set up at this point because of the Grinding Station and the Requisitioner. Yes, there is the second wear. Okay. So, how do I do this correctly? I think what I do is cast Sword of the Meek, cast Grinding Station, that's fine. Surprised that it triggers itself. Let's just say no. Cast this. Black. Make 1. Make 1. Make 1. Make 1. Exactly enough mana. Now I will sacrifice this Sword of the Meek to mill them. This will make a 1/1. Oh, does this actually kill them? I didn't oh man. Whoever built this deck is a genius. Always yield. Always yes. Let's Let's return it. And they mill 3. Yeah, this is a mono combo. Okay. I probably should have figured this out beforehand, but yeah, you're dead. God, everyone is so much smarter than me. It's like this. Bet they didn't think they were going to die this turn. Yeah, see the writing on the... Wow. I did not put all of that together looking at the deck list. I just knew that you could like go off in awesome ways and kill them really quickly. But it's a whole one-shot, 3-card combo. So no wonder there's 4 copies of Sword of the Meek. It goes with both combos. See, I'm just not very smart over here. All I do is play the games. Hopefully I stumble into victory like I just did in sort of both of them. In game 1, I was behind to Nahiri. My opponent kept breaking off and then spewed a Path Exile that I don't think they should have spewed, and which found me into War of Invention. And that game, oof, we just presented all the combos. I think holding off and sequencing the way I did was correct, because otherwise they were going to trade more efficiently with their spells. But, you know, when you play your things efficiently, they force them to use their mana on their own turn, then you get some free turns, and that's what happened. And boy, did we use that free turn effectively, milling every single card in their deck and making a pile of 1/1s. I guess you can keep going and make infinite 1/1s and leave them with 0 cards just in case. But, you know, they have no deck, so that's fine. So I guess you don't even care about... Yeah, I guess I don't even care about the 1 Emrakul, right? Because they should have an Emrakul in their deck, so milling them out actually isn't good. Oh, that's awkward. Maybe they didn't think about it, but I'm still making a bajillion 1/1s, so they need to find a Wrath of God. And I can actually keep going. I mean, Moto prevents you from doing that because of time constraints, but in a regular game, you can keep going. You're affecting the game state. It's not like the 4 Horseman deck. You're making a 1/1, so you can keep going until you've seen a sufficient number of Wraths in their deck that you feel like they don't have one left, even if they have to keep reshuffling a few times, so that they don't find the answer they need in the 1 turn window they have it, or just leave your thing untapped and kill them in response. But I guess the Wrath deals with the Requisitioner, so you do have to do it my way, where you sort of just keep cycling through their graveyard until you feel like you've gotten rid of all or at least most of their outs, and give them a very slim chance of drawing back into the game. Either way, super cool combo. Glad I got to actually execute it, even though I didn't really realize it was there at first glance. So, you know, sometimes the decks surprise even me. And I hope this one surprised you and you enjoyed watching it, and you can come back and see me on Wednesday. Bye.